Let me share with you some of the steps I take when I want to retrofit an old machine with a newer controller, or at least a LinuxCNC controller. That's what I use. The steps for Mark III and Mark IV and Mesa are probably similar, but I can't confirm since I'm a Linux boy. Now, even though I might make myself sound like a pro, or like I have 50 machines in experience, I own 2 machines, a Mesa and a Bridgeport. That's a Mesa Troll and a Heidenhain controller I have experience in. First thing I would do is definitely take pictures. Pictures. I'd rather fill up my phone with boring pictures than wishing I had a reference for something I removed or fiddle with. I can't stress this enough. Pictures. It has saved my ass more times than I can probably remember. It's so nice to just look up some before pictures if you're ever in doubt of something. Also, if you take a lot of pictures, you can do before and after pictures, which is really cool because you can see the fruits of your labor and get some likes on Instagram. Next thing, get a small notebook and a good pen that can tolerate some oily paper. I like to write almost everything down. Just like with the pictures, it's much better to be over-documented than missing something crucial. Now to the tools. You don't really need a lot of expensive tooling to retrofit. A good set of screwdrivers and hex keys will get you through 90% of the hardware, while a multimeter and a good soldering iron will also get you far in the electronics. Here's some of my favorite tools that I use almost every day. A labeler, a good wire stripper, a shitty lighter, Google, some heat shrink, and patience. Now, I have to say this, even though this might be obvious for some, but read up on your stuff before you attempt to work on these machines. These are industrial equipment and are not meant for unauthorized people working on them. They can kill you in multiple ways. Crushing, cutting, marking, electrocution, financial execution. So you need to be careful. Anyway, next up, connecting the machine to the computer. This is much depending on your specific machine and what controller it has. My milling machine luckily used standard D-bus connectors thanks to the Heidenhain controller, whereas my Mesa lathe uses Honda connectors. This meant that I could simply buy spare connectors from a mill to get an easy pinout, but had to split the connectors on the lathe to get to the connections. The manual I got with the milling machine was in pretty rough shape, so I took a scanner and scanned every page in. This meant I could upload the manual to my Google Drive and refer back to stuff on my phone, without having to use the fragile paper manual. Great. Also went to Heidenhain's website and found a copy of the controller's manual. It's pretty great that Heidenhain makes manuals for legacy controllers available for free. All the machine's electrical diagrams have been compacted into 3 large A3 pages, which is a little tough to scan. So I had to pull them into GIMP/Photoshop and stitch them back together, as well as making them grayscale and enhancing the contrast for easier reading. I actually thought I was missing an electrical diagram folder, since the Mesa came with this monster of diagrams, but turns out they just managed to cram everything into 3 sheets. With those 3 sheets, I could easily find the pinout for the D-bus connectors, make myself a reference sheet and start making my pinout connector. After the pinouts have been established, time to connect to the new controller. I used the Mesa 7i76E, got a manual of that too. And with this awesome PDF by Nobi on the LinuxCNC forums, it made an easy time connecting everything. While connecting everything, I made a spreadsheet to keep track of everything, and could later use the same spreadsheet to make the connections to LinuxCNC and PyVCP. Anything I would recommend when it comes to retrofitting? Get manuals for everything. I had an issue where the spindle would only turn counterclockwise, which made it basically useless for milling, and had a really hard time figuring out why. The connection for clockwise turned it counterclockwise. The connection for counterclockwise did nothing. Ugh, just swap 2 faces. Well, that didn't work. Looked in the Heidenhain manual. It tells me positive 10 volts to the VFD should go clockwise. Wait. Look up the parameter list. It's 1. 1 is option 2. Joking aside, it's a mistake in the manual, but it tells me that minus 10 volts is full RPM clockwise. Now, I didn't have the manual for the VFD, and I didn't really know of a good way at the time to get a clean inverted signal. I had the parameters for the VFD, but not a description for anything. So I went online on probably the deepest hunt for a manual I have tried to date. But when I finally found it, I figured I could just flip these 2 values. And voila! Yeah, I know I probably didn't need a manual to figure that one out, but I wanted to be certain. Anyway, this was a short video on some of the things I do to retrofit my machines, and if you have some questions or want to know more, just let me know in the comments, as well as there's anything you want to see more videos of. I had a really great time making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thanks for watching.